your ship works fine, right out of the box. So why even look at aftermarket components? It is, and in the future definitely will be, more important than you think. So today that's exactly what we're going to cover. Which components to use and avoid, why, and where to find them. And while you'll have some choices to make, we're going to help make them pretty simple ones. This is University of Stanton. Class is in session. For this video, we're addressing the components of starships that you'll see listed in your mobiGlass's Vehicle Loadout Manager when you click the System tab. For each ship, this is a combination of one or more coolers, power plants, shields, and one quantum drive. A power plant powers everything else on the loadout, the ship and its engines and instruments, weapons, any special items, and the other system components. Each different power plant brand provides a different amount of power and requires a different amount of cooling. When turned on, all these other parts generate heat, and coolers use power to reduce that heat. Each cooler brand provides a different amount of cooling. Turn off the coolers on your ship, and the power plant will overheat and shut itself off in a hurry, leaving your ship dead. Shields protect the ship against damage while they have power, and their heat spikes slightly during their recharge phase. And of course, the quantum drive allows you to traverse great distances at faster than light speeds. The biggest single reason to upgrade is to save your own time, and this is why you should pay close attention to at least the quantum drive section of this video, as that will change the game for your transit around Stanton. But many ships, particularly with stock loadouts, are potentially vulnerable to ballistic and splash damage that can knock them out of flight and end your chosen activities much sooner than they should. So trust me, this is something you'll want to do. Many of these things were discovered in the same tools we'll be making extensive use of to come up with the best recommended components. These are Urkel.Games, which offers a quick, easy calculator for creating a ship loadout and finding items on the market, and SPViewer.eu, or SC Ship's Performance Viewer, which offers a deeper dive and filtering options on some stats that Urkel does not. Both are absolutely fantastic tools, so if you find them helpful, please consider supporting their creators, who I'll link to in the description below. Before you go buying new parts, you should know that in 3.23.1a, it's currently not possible to move components and weapons around between cities and stations. While you can place some size 1 components inside of larger personal item crates, built-in ship inventories in the crates themselves simply spit out an item to large error and just won't allow components to be moved in. Additionally, it appears some locations, such as Grim Hex, may occasionally not even show ship items in the inventory screen at all. Liveries, your ship paints, are an exception to this. These can be moved in ship inventories and containers with no problem. What does this mean for us? It just means we need to be aware that when we replace components and weapons away from our home location, we're not going to have any way to get the discarded component home if we want it later, until a new patch comes out or you run a character repair through the RSI website. If this matters to you, you can always remove components from a ship at your home location, save, claim the ship at the destination with the shop, and swap the newly purchased components into the empty slots. This will of course be changing with 3.24, and we'll update this video then, but for right now in 3.23.1a, this is what we're working with. With that in mind, let's begin looking at the components. There are only a few stats we need to consider in 3.23.1a, and a couple of them are common to all parts. First, we need to be aware of component health or hit points, and that there are a few very common components that have defective hit point pools, which we showed in a YouTube short a few weeks ago. You've probably seen some of these before as stock components on your own ships. These include the bracer coolers, Maelstrom power plants, and a few others listed here. What this means for you is that these components can be completely knocked out in an instant by even a single missile with sufficient splash damage and radius. The dice roll against you as long as they're on your ships. The good news is that virtually all other components of each type available on the market have the full amount of hit points that they should, and this is the main reason we'll be shopping for upgrades. Second, some components in the size 1 range have different amounts of mass, a stat not visible in Urkel but that we can find in the item list on spviewer.eu by scrolling all the way to the right. Lowering the mass in your components can improve your thrust acceleration by around 1%, which arguably doesn't make any recognizable difference at all, but for the hardcore min-maxers out there, this is one of the few opportunities in this system to squeeze out a little extra edge. We'll identify some ideal components for this. For other relevant stats, we'll be looking at each category of parts. We'll start with quantum drives, since these set the stage for getting around to other locations. They have a neat set of mechanics that could use their own video, but in their current state, we can pick which ones to use very easily. If we're purchasing a size 1 drive for a ship with a typical 600 to 700 liter quantum fuel tank, we usually want to use either the Atlas or the Voyage. While Atlas has a significant edge on distance with a minimal speed sacrifice, you have to go all the way out to Platinum Bay on her L5 to get it. The Voyage covers the distances you need and is more readily available at Orison's Cousin Crows, one reason that makes Orison my preferred starting location, and by Genie Point's Platinum Bay at ArcCorp, giving Area 18 starters easy access as well. Both of these sell for under 18,000 AUEC. However, if you're buying for a ship with at least 1,100 liters of fuel, which starts with the Eclipse, or you won't be leaving a local planetary area like Crusader's Sullen, Yella, and Daymar moons, you'll want the Stealth A grade Spectre for 36,150 at Cousin Crow's Orison or Dumper's Depot Area 18. Why that and not the VK00 with its 283,000 speed, you might ask? Well, while the VK has a technically higher max speed, this doesn't even begin to matter until a 40 plus gigameter trip due to how staged acceleration and deceleration works. With the Spectre, you'll lose a meager few seconds on extremely long trips, but depending on the tank, you might not even be able to complete them with the VK. The Spectre's better efficiency will let you, and on trips shorter than that 40 gigameters, including hops between moons, the Spectre actually pulls ahead as the clear winner. On top of all that, the VK happens to be one of our components with reduced hit points, making it extra vulnerable to being disabled by splash damage. For size 2, there is no such nuance. The XL1 is the best. Period. You'll get the range you need, and none of the rest come close in terms of overall speed. Find it at Cousin Crow's Orison or Platinum Bay Port Trussler for 94,900. For size 3, the situation is similar, with the TS2 being the best all around, also available at Cousin Crow's Orison, and at Platinum Bay Crew L5 for 93,700. We're not looking at low-cost options here because we're saving cost on our most valuable resource of all, time. Making trips fast while not having to stop halfway for fuel will save you more in the long run than a cheaper quantum drive. Some of this may change later with adjustments, the addition of other star systems with longer quantum trips, and so on, and when it does, we'll be discussing it at the university's Discord community. We talk theory crafting, what's coming next for Star Citizen, and host exclusive votes for our channel backers on YouTube and Patreon to choose a new guide every month, so be sure to join with the link in the description below. Coolers have most stats flattened, that is, providing identical performance across a number of different attributes. But on Urkel, you've probably noticed this section, which shows the cooling requirements of the other components against the total cooling provided by the coolers. Typically, any set of coolers will provide all the cooling you need. In many cases, a single cooler could even provide it. But if the cooler is damaged, the amount of cooling it provides decreases proportionally with the number of hit points lost. Lose half the hit points on a cooler, you lose half its cooling rate. So take splash damage from a missile and you'll be in danger of your power plant overheating and shutting down. With this in mind, we can select the best coolers on the market. If your priority is to hedge against cooling shutdown by maximizing the available cooling, you'll be looking for these industrial A-grade coolers. At size 1, the Ultraflow, available at Omega Pro New Babbage and Platinum Bay Crew L4 for 27,550 AUEC. At size 2, the Snowpack, also at Omega Pro New Babbage and Dumper's Depot Area 18 for 82,900, and at size 3, the Chill Max, also at Omega Pro New Babbage and Dumper's Depot Area 18 for 287,250. If your priority is saving credits while getting that tougher replacement component, Stealth Grade A sits in a nice sweet spot. At size 1, look for the Snowblind available at Cousin Crow's Orison, Dumper's Depot Grim Hex and Platinum Bay by Genie Point for 12,850. At size 2, find the Nightfall at Cousin Crow's Orison or Platinum Bay by Genie Point for 32,600. And at size 3, an ideal middle ground is the Frostbite Civilian B grade at Omega Pro New Babbage or Dumper's Depot Grim Hex for 110,850. And if you're going for size 1 mass reduction to squeeze out a little more ship performance at size 1, the Zero Rush Competition B cooler weighs in at 150 mass, while still offering a respectable 238K cooling rate. It's available at Omega Pro New Babbage and Platinum Bay Crew L5 for 16,150. Power plants also have most stats flattened, but do have different power output, which you'll need to match against your loadout's requirements, and cooling usage, which will be the largest load on your coolers above. Just like the cooling rate, a power plant's power output will reduce proportionally with the damage it takes against its hit points. Lose half your power plant's hit points, you lose half your power output. If your priority is to hedge against this kind of power loss, you'll want to look at the industrial A-grade power plants. At size 1, the Breton will kick out 4628 power and is available at Omega Pro New Babbage and Dumpers Depot Area 18 for 52,600 AUEC. At size 2, the Genoa outputs 13750 power, available at Omega Pro New Babbage and Platinum Bay Everest Harbor for 150,600. And at size 3, the Durango outputs 55,000 power, available at Omega Pro New Babbage and Dumpers Depot Area 18 for 430,350 credits. If your priority is saving credits while getting that tougher replacement component, the savings are going to mean you could end up short on the power needed for your ship build, so it's important you check the Urkel list and sort it by price yourself, and make sure that the power plant at the price point you want will provide the power and protective excess power that you need. If you're not sure, the Military D-Grade series offers a decent balance. At size 1, the Charger outputs a solid 2945 power, available at Platinum Bay by Genie Point, Arc L1, and Crew L5 for 12,700. At size 2, the Vortex outputs 8750 power and is available only at Platinum Bay Crew L1 for 37,600. At size 3, the Jurassic outputs 35,000 power, available at Platinum Bay by Genie Point and Crew L4 for 113,600. For size 1 mass reduction, your first option is the Lumicore Competition A, the lightest at 187.5 mass, but an output of only 1472 power, meaning you may need to step up to the Slipstream Stealth A at 212.5 mass and an output of 1788. These are both available at Platinum Bay by Genie Point, with the Lumicore also available at Omega Pro New Babbage and Dumpers Depot Area 18 for 6100 credits, and the Slipstream also available at Cousin Crow's Orison for 18600. As a note, the mass of the size 1 power plants also correlates with a sharp increase in required cooling. If this is something you'd like to dial in for your own purposes, use the items page on spviewer.eu to look for power plants, narrow the list down to size 1, and sort by cooling usage. Shields protect your ship from taking direct damage while you're in SCM mode. At present, they absorb up to 30% of incoming ballistic damage and absorb all energy and distortion damage. Currently, all size 1 shields have base shield hit points of 1500, size 2s have 6000, and size 3s have 100,000. With the power triangle system set to 100% shields, all of them can have their strength essentially doubled. With this in mind, the only stat on shields of any significance other than the component hit points, and it is minor significance, is the cooling usage. All other protection-related stats are identical across each size. With that in mind, we have a few clear overall winners. For size 1, this is the Stealth A Mirage at Cousin Crow's Orison and Platinum Bay Harel 2 for 28,600. At size 2, you'll want the Competition B Halter at Omega Pro New Babbage and Dumpers Depot Grim Hex for 36,700. And technically the Sukaran is an even better option, but this is a specialty component only available on the Banu Defender. You'll either have to pledge for or purchase the ship in-game for almost 6.3 million AUEC to gain access to these. At size 3, find the 5CA Akura at Dumpers Depot Area 18 or Grim Hex or Platinum Bay Arc L1 for 93,250. Those are your best all-around bets, but if you absolutely want to cut costs on shield while covering the component hit point hole, you'll want, for size 1, the Falco at Dumpers Depot Grim Hex and Platinum Bay Crew L4 for 5,800, for size 2, the RPEL at Dumpers Depot Grim Hex and Platinum Bay Everest Harbor, Crew L1 and Crew L4 for 22,400, and for size 3, the Haven at Platinum Bay Everest Harbor, Harel 2 and Harel 5 for 74,600. If your priority is size 1 mass reduction, the Competition C Targa at Dumpers Depot Grim Hex and Platinum Bay Everest Harbor also comes in as a low-cost, lower mass option for 8,600 credits. We won't know what stats are important until 3.24 goes to PTU, but what I can tell you from observing CIG flatten and test individual pieces of their stat sets over the past few years is they're being set up to add variety and balance to a system where you choose all your parts for a reason, and they're teasing us with little reasons buried in the numbers to make little decisions about our loadouts right now. With every new patch, we'll be keeping an eye on those numbers and posting a revision of this guide updated with the latest for you, and we'll be talking about it on our Discord community, which you can join at the link below. Happy shopping! Class dismissed.